welcome back to Teen Talks. And wow, as we are going to celebrate 2023, and this is our last episode of the year, and it is going to be, we're celebrating. Woo-hoo! It has been quite a year for us. We're excited. We've celebrated a bunch of episodes and we're excited. So today's episode is going to be talking about all the things that we accomplished this year, not just us, but it's your turn to
Yeah.
kind of look at your year. So grab a pencil or a pen, some paper, or if you're like Rehan, just type it somewhere. Uh, not
No,
me.
have a tablet.
I
I'm
am
writing it.
I'm all about my paper and pencil. Anyway, because you're going to want to take some notes and you might want to even take action. So
Yeah.
let's dive in to 2023, a look back. How
Yeah.
should we start this?
Yeah, so I know this is going to be more of an interactive format than what we usually do. We're going to be looking back on 2023, looking back on the different moments, the accomplishments, the highs especially. We're going to focus on the good in this episode. And then next week's episode, we're going to be looking into 2024 and into the new year. So it's going to be like kind of two parts. But to start today's episode off, um, I want to start off by answering one question, and this is something that I do with my family every year, and we're gonna take a bit of that, and we're gonna do it here with all of you, all of our viewers and listeners. And the first step when we look back onto the year and back into, what we did in the past year, the first question that we always answer is, what are we grateful for? What are things that
Beautiful.
happened, or the people who entered our lives, or the people who are in our lives,
Mm-hmm.
who we're grateful for? What are we grateful for? And what are the things that happened in the past year that we're grateful for? And, before we really start like just doing the work, Susan, why don't
Yeah.
you just share a few things that you're grateful for that happened in 2023?
Yeah. 2023, it seemed like a year that chugged along sort of in an interesting way. But one of the things I was really grateful for was I got the chance to go to San Diego and do GYLS. We talked about GYLS before,
Yeah.
the Global Youth Leadership Summit from Tony Robbins and working with teenagers. So that was a dream of mine. I'd done it online, but this year I got to actually be with them. And for me, I'm just so grateful that I got the chance to actually embrace the kids and figure out how they work. I mean, I know, but it's just like to be with them, their
Yeah.
excitement, their rawness. I love it. So that was one of my things this year. What about you?
Awesome. Love that. I think GYLS, I mean, you shared how good of an experience that was, and I'm so happy that you were able to experience it in person because I know you've done the
Yeah.
online one. So that actually made me smile because I could feel it. I could feel it.
Yeah.
Um, what am I grateful for? I'll be honest, I'm actually really grateful for technology, and I'll tell you why. This year, the whole year, I spent it living away from home and being able to connect with my family, speak to my mom on the phone, speak to my dad on the phone, and FaceTime my sister and stuff like that. I'm really grateful that, I was able to maintain that connection with them. And also for all the other reasons, like, look, it's so funny how you and I have never met in person. We've only like we have
Yep.
all these meetings and we talk to each other all the time virtually. Never met in person, and that's all thanks to technology. So
Yeah.
grateful for technology. What a young like teenager thing to say, huh?
Yeah, of course. That's right. I embrace being in person. You embrace technology. Yeah, that's
Yeah. But that being said, to all the viewers and listeners, like this is your chance. You can pause this podcast and, just yeah, write down like a list of 10 things or more or less or however many, but 10 things that you're grateful for.
Yeah, because
That
gratitude really is, we
Mhm.
had an episode before on gratitude, but gratitude really is the essence of life.
Yeah.
If you're grateful for the things that have happened in your life or that are happening right now, or the things you're looking forward to, that changes your entire perspective on life
Yeah.
and all the pain goes away. Because if you can focus on that, that is the key to a great
Yeah.
life. you know?
Yeah, and that being said, I mean, sometimes I was actually like last week, I was thinking about the year, and I almost felt to myself, I was telling myself, I feel like I haven't done anything this year. But then when I started to think about, the things that I was grateful for and the things that actually did happen, I realized like there was a lot of good. There was a
Yeah,
lot of good in the year. And I think that many people think that when they look back on the year, it's something that can be scary to do because it's like sometimes you feel like you haven't done anything and that time has just flown by. But when you focus on those things and focus on the things that happened that were great, that you feel grateful for, you'll see it actually might change the way you look back on the year. So it's
exactly.
a
I think so many people tend to not notice or
yeah,
acknowledge how far they've come in a year or how far they don't see it. You know, it's like
yeah.
and because maybe because it's so incremental.
Hmm.
So, I feel like my business should be further along or whatever. But when I go back and I look at, well, look what I did.
Yeah,
I've come a long way in a year. It was inch by inch by inch, but it's happened. And it takes me to Tony Robbins' famous quote where he says, we always overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 3, 5, or 10. And I have
exactly.
found that so true. And I know that like Rehan and I are doing this podcast now. We've been doing it for half a year, and it feels like it's slow, slow. We're making progress though, and in one day it's just going to blow up. We just know
Yeah,
it's going to be great. We know we're going to reach the audience of people we want. It's
yeah.
just it's that whole thing of just keep going, you know.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, exactly. And that is a perfect segue because the next question, the next thing that, we can reflect on is what are the things that we're proud of? Things that we might
mhm.
have done during the year that we feel proud of, like that we're happy that we did. We're happy that, you know, we were able to accomplish these things.
Yeah,
Susan, you wanna share?
yeah. So I have our company Firefly Quest, and that is for the teenagers. And it took me forever to do the website. Okay, so I did it all by myself. It was the most frustrating thing I've ever done, but I got it done. I did it. I learned so much going through that process that and I created it, and it feels good to me, and I'm proud of it actually. So check it out, fireflyquest.com. I worked really hard on it.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, please go
Yeah.
check it out. We'll put a link to it even at the bottom of this video. Seriously, it's worth it. It's definitely worth having a look because there's a lot of good stuff on there. Yeah,
Thank you.
you'll get to learn more about Susan and Firefly Quest. And seriously, it's really good. Really good. We'll put
Thank
a
you.
link to it for sure.
And what
Yeah.
about you, Rehan? What are you
Ooh.
proud of?
So I've like I said, I've had time to, reflect on the past year. On a personal level, like when it comes to my soccer journey. Um, I'm happy because like in the beginning of the year, literally like on January 2nd of this year, I went for tryouts for a semi-professional club in France after a long time of like being injured and, going through surgery and stuff like that. And I was able to make it. I did well during the tryouts and I signed for that team. And then a few months later, like in June, I then signed for a team that played in the division above. So I made good
Ah,
progress there.
mm-hmm.
Um, but one thing that I really want to highlight is Teen Talks. I am very, very proud of the fact that we not only started,
Yep.
launched, but have stayed consistent and committed to this podcast. Like you mentioned earlier, it's not like we're doing these crazy numbers or anything. We're just getting started, but it's something that we believe in, right,
Yep.
Susan? It's
Yep.
something that
Our
we are
mission.
very passionate about. It's part of our mission. And, it's I'm very happy that you and I are committed to it and that we show up. We're showing up and we're
Yeah.
doing it and we're getting it done and we're figuring it out as we go along as any journey, happens and how it
Yep.
plays out. That's exactly what we're doing. So I'm proud of us actually for
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Me too. Me too. Because I didn't know this, but you told me this, that most podcasters don't make it past episode 20.
Yeah.
And we are. over a quarter of the way to 100. So we feel
Hmm.
really good about the progress we've made and the consistency in showing up. And we truly believe that we're going to make a difference in this world. That's our why. That's
Yeah.
why we do this,
Yeah.
because we found each other, I think it was, you know, the universe, whatever. We found each other in such a strange way. It was like, and to have a 21-year-old, you were 19 when I met you.
Yeah.
Um, and somebody as old as me have this connection that's so strong and such, I don't know, we just kind of are on the same page somehow.
Yeah.
Making it work is something that I'm very proud of. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're gonna keep going.
Yeah. It ain't
Stopping.
stopping. We ain't
Nope.
stopping.
Because our why is too strong.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Oh,
why, we're going to talk about why later, right?
yeah. In the next, so this will be in, you'll see it next week, when we're looking
Yep.
into 2024. But yeah, we're gonna be covering the importance of your why, but more of that to come.
Mhm.
Um, there's one more thing that Susan and I want to talk about, and it's something, it's more personal now. This is not about like, your accomplishments or anything, but just what are some of the moments that were memorable for you this year?
Mhm.
And these are more like moments that made you happy, moments where you just felt like you were at your best. You just felt good. Maybe you were surrounded with family. Maybe you were on your own on a walk somewhere in nature. Maybe you were traveling, whatever it is. What are some of those moments? And Susan, I'd love for you to share some of those moments that you
Okay.
had this year.
Yeah. So when I went down to San Diego to do GYLS, I live up in near Seattle, and I drove all the way down. But the magic part of it is on the way down. My brother lives in Northern California where I grew up, and they have a new ranch. So they have a
Hmm.
new ranch. They built their dream home on 26 acres. And my sister-in-law, unfortunately, she had an ACL tear. So I had to go down because they needed a ranch hand to take over for her, because they have goats and donkeys. And so they had baby goats when I was there, were just born. And oh my gosh, it was so magical and so memorable. And I got to take care of them for a week, and it was magical, literally magical, to be with these animals who are just so darling, and they love you so much. And I never knew goats and donkeys could be like a dog almost. That's really amazing. So that
Yeah,
was cool. Yeah.
that's awesome. That's
What
so
about you?
nice. Oh, um, I think there are two that really come to mind, and it was when I was with my family. The first one when I was in Kenya, so I was able to travel to Kenya and see my grandmother who lives there, my dad's sister as well. They both live in Kenya, and I was also able to join my family, so my parents and my sister over there as well. So I was really able to cherish that moment because, it's rare for me to see my family, and I was able to be with all of them all at
Yeah.
once, and that was really nice. And then like 2 weeks after that, or even one week, I would say, I saw them again in London because a cousin of mine was getting married. So that was really nice just to be with family and everything. And that's one of
Yeah.
the moments where I just felt really, really good, felt happy. It was a good reset because it was in the middle of the year, it was in July, and yeah, felt really good. That's definitely my
That's awesome. I
yeah,
love the relationship you have with your family. Even though you were away from them so much, you are also close.
yeah,
So um
yeah,
we're
very
not I'm very close to my kids too. And I think part of the reason we're so this is such a big mission for us is we want that for everybody, to have that
100%.
relationship between parents and their kids and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and so I think we share similar values when it comes to family, and we have a similar understanding of that concept and the importance, like you said, of that dynamic and that relationship, parents and kids, and I think
Yeah.
like you said, it aligns well with what we're doing
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And so for anyone viewing this or listening to this, with all these questions that we went over, please like just take the time as well. Like I don't know if you're, sitting down and not doing anything and you're just listening and watching this, or if you're driving, maybe if you're driving, then maybe you want to come back to this and then, do the questions on at another time. But yeah, if you can, and just take some time and answer these questions for yourself, look
So
back on the
Rehan,
year.
could you
Hmm.
go say those three questions again, just to make it really
Yeah.
clear? These are the three questions that we recommend you really contemplate on and actually write down, because when you write it down, it kind of gets more ingrained.
Hmm. So
But
the first question is, make a list of like what are 10 things that you are grateful for in 2023. So 10 things, you could do more, could do less, whatever comes to mind, but what are some things that you are grateful for when you look back on the year? That's question number one. Question number two is, what are the things? Oh, happy birthday to whoever's birthday it is today. If that happens sometimes, it's some new update, and we knew it was gonna happen. Susan and I had a conversation about this, by the way, of how these animations were gonna show up automatically without us doing it on purpose. But anyways, um, the second question is, when you look back on the year, what are the things that you are most proud of? These are accomplishments, and they could be accomplishments as parents. They could be in your career. They could be personal. Maybe you've been going through something and you were able to fight through it. That's a big accomplishment. Whatever it is, just write down a list, write down all these things, all the things that you're proud of. And you could also be proud of others. You could be proud of your kids. Maybe they did something.
yeah, that's a
Just
good
write
point.
down,
And
write
then
down
show them
anything.
and say, this is where I'm proud of you.
Yeah. I'm sure they'd like that,
You should be proud of yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And then question number three, what are your most memorable moments of the year? And these are just moments that made you happy, where you just felt good. And, maybe there are moments that you shared with others. Maybe there were moments where you were just on your own, whatever.
I'm
But
really special.
special moments, yeah, those memorable
Yeah.
moments. So those are the three questions. Go ahead and answer them. That that way you get to reflect on the year and see all the things that happened and just appreciate the year for what it was. And this is going to set you up really well for next week's episode. This is the part two that you're going to see next week of us looking now into 2024 and setting our intentions for that year.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's it for today's episode. Um,
Okay.
and
So we're
yeah,
going to go in. Do we get to go Happy New Year?
yeah, we do get to do Happy New Year to everyone. Is it this one? Oh, nope.
No.
This one. Happy New Year, everyone.
I love
Woo!
it. I don't have an iPhone.
Yeah.
I don't want one, but yeah.
Hater.
Cool. Huh?
Are you an Apple hater? Okay, this is our first fight since being friends. So
Android. Android, yeah.
hey, you do you. I ain't judging.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right. Well, Happy New Year. Have a beautiful time with your family, and we will see you in 2024. Oh my gosh.
Ooh. Yeah, make sure to tune into next week's episode because we're really going to be looking into the new year and setting intentions and actually setting goals
Yeah.
for the new year. So yeah, we look forward to seeing
And,
you there.
one real quick thing.
Hmm.
One real quick thing. When I think this is 2024, this is how old I am. Uh when we called it Y2K, when 1999 was going to go to 2000, and so many people thought the world was going to end,
Hmm.
and all this crazy stuff. That was 24 years ago. I can't believe
Yeah.
it. My daughter was in a crib
Wow.
as a baby, and yes, and my ex-husband, he was working for IBM, and their whole projects for all these companies, he was a consultant. They would go out to change the software, because the software wasn't fixed up for 2000. It only was 19. And
Yeah,
so that was a huge business, but it was hilarious that so many people thought the world was going to end.
that's crazy. I wasn't
Conspiracy
even
theory.
I wasn't even born.
Yep. Yep.
I wasn't even I didn't even exist. I didn't even have a
Yeah.
cell on this
Yeah.
planet. Like
I know. It
that's
just it just
crazy.
cracks me up. Yeah. Time flies.
Definitely does.
So make it purposeful and intentional, and yeah, and then relish in the beauty and the gratitude of everything.
Yeah.
So, all right. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We'll see you guys next week. Take care. Comment, like, subscribe, do all those things. Have a great New Year. Spend it with whoever, your family, friends, whoever you want to spend it with. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Okay, one more time.
Happy New Year. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.